evening and welcome to In Demand. My name is Trudy Kerr.
And I'm Jane Dennis, and tonight we are going to be looking at women in sport.
Indeed, and as sports become more and more popular in Malta, this evening we're going to be speaking to two prominent and prolific sportswomen in their particular fields.
Tonight's guests are Deirdre Farrugia, Olympian and fitness instructor, and Danica Bonello Spiteri, accomplished triathlete and sports doctor.
Absolutely. Let's get the show underway with Deirdre Farrugia. Dee, thank you so much for coming on the show. It's absolutely fabulous for you to be here. I've interviewed you before. I've been looking forward to this all week.
It's true, she has.
I haven't. I've been banging on about it all week. Listen, you're probably best known for being an Olympian at the Barcelona 1992 Olympics.
No, it wasn't yesterday, was it?
Well, you were in the 100 and 200 metres.
Yes, that's right, representing Malta in the 100 and 200.
And then also you've had sort of represented Malta in all sorts of athletics, meets and so on and so forth.
Yeah, quite a few.
So I guess my question I'm dying to know the answer for is, what has been your biggest moment in sports?
I can hand on heart say, it sounds a bit cheesy, but I can hand on heart say that it was walking into the Olympic Stadium. We were only a team of 7 athletes. There was 2 judokas, myself from athletics, Carol Galia, who was an 800 metre, and a team of 7 from sort of 4 different sports. And all these huge countries were coming out with, you know, 200 athletes, 50, 60 athletes. And there was us, a team of 7 athletes, walking behind the Maltese flag. And the pride I felt, I can still feel it, I'm getting goosebumps, was just an amazing feeling to be there, that you've worked so hard and you're representing your country at the Olympic Games. I think it's every athlete's dream, I'm sure, and the pinnacle of any athlete's sporting career.
That's amazing, isn't it?
It really was. I mean, the stadium is obviously chock-a-block with people. The whole world is watching the opening ceremony of the Olympic Games, and you're there.
Because millions of people are watching you.
So it was just, you know, a great, great moment.
No, that's fantastic.
Out of the many, I can say, thankfully.
Yes,
There's been many, many great ones.
And I guess that's limited pressure, isn't it? Walking out into something, is that
well,
when you feel less pressure?
It's fun, you know, it's before the games have started. Some sports do actually start before the opening ceremony, but yeah, it's just, you know.
And that wasn't the small nations or anything. This was the full-on, big old Olympics.
Yes, yes, the Olympic.
That's just incredible.
On every 4 years. So next year, actually, 2016.
Yes.
So.
Where is it next year?
Rio.
Rio.
Oh, how lovely.
Yes, because it was in London.
Yes, it was.
And I was a volunteer in my very splendid uniform. Not. Anyway, yes. So thinking about sport then, and the team of people that you were with, and sport in general, do you think it's been harder to achieve your level of success being a woman than it would be to be a man?
No, not at all. No. I don't think so. I mean, it depends what support you have around you. I was very lucky that my parents were very, very supportive. I mean, obviously I was pretty young. I was 19 when I went to the Olympics.
Yeah.
But I mean, before that I'd been training. I started athletics when I was 10, 11. My first competition abroad was when I was 11. And my mum and dad, you know, my mum used to drive me down to the track every day, and I had a good coach, and then when he realised he couldn't take me any further, he said, look, I'm handing you on to someone who can help you more than I can now. I've reached my limit. Wow. So I think if you're... And we had, obviously, the Malta Olympic Committee used to help us, and I mean, that was further along. But if you've got people around you who are supportive, and there's just don't think there's a distinction between men and women, to be honest.
That's
if you work very hard, then you're given the opportunities and are allowed to reach your full potential.
Excellent, that's great.
And your parents are sporty as well, or not?
Not at all, funnily
enough. Really?
No. No.
So
really?
We're like, wow, that's amazing. So how, just a thought in my head, how is it that you then came to be excelling in sports? So you must have gone to school and been discovered, or how does that work?
Well, actually, I think my mum is Irish, and I think her mum, my grandmother, was pretty sporty. She was tall, lean, and used to enjoy sport. No, with me, it happened at school. I used to win all the races when I was sort of 9, 10 years old. I was one of the fast ones, that kind of thing. And the PE teacher said, look, let's go down to the track for some races. And obviously I went down and I won. And that's how the ball got rolling, basically, you know. And then I'd go for a competition the following week and win.
Which way round was it? Was it the desire that made you want to compete, or was it the winning that wanted to...
Well, I mean, it was fun to be the fast one, you know, and to go down for my... No, I mean, when you're 10 years old and you go down to a competition at the track, and there's all these people and nobody knows who you are and you beat everyone. It's pretty cool when you're 10, 11, you know. So I just wanted to keep having that feeling, you know. And then the coach said, look, I want that girl kind of thing. So I started training once a week, and then from once a week it was twice a week, and that's the way. I was lucky, actually.
But that desire piece, and it wasn't that, you know, it was the fact that you had a natural ability that then made you want to compete, rather than you had a desire to win and beat everybody at the age of 10.
No, I think it was, as you said, it was kind of just, it felt fun. It felt good to beat everyone, kind of thing. No, it's true. I mean, that's all right. No, really, it's true. You know, at that age. And to be encouraged, and everyone said, oh, you should train because you're fast. And
how brilliant. Well, listen, I mean, you're obviously very, very well known as an athlete here in Malta, but you're also married to a very well-known sports person as well.
I am.
You're married to Nathan, who...
That was a very nice way of putting it, a sports person. Should we call him other, like...
Crazy sportsman, is that okay?
You said it.
I'm dying to know, are you guys competitive with each other? Do you find, because you were talking there about it's great to be the fastest, you know, does that mean that you and Nathan are, do you run together?
First of all, I don't compete anymore, obviously. I retired from competitive, I mean, I was an athlete for 20 years. Mm-hmm. I retired from competition a while ago now. It'll be 2003, so it'll be 12 years that I retired from competition. Okay. It was just, I'd reached a stage where it was time to stop. So no, I mean, we don't compete, you know, with each other. We actually encourage each other. I mean, he does all these crazy events, as you know. He's got another one. He's just, you know, signed up for something else that's mad. But, you know, that's what fuels him. And if that's what makes him happy, and then absolutely,
and you're supportive of each other, and you want each other to do well.
I mean, even this afternoon, I told you I was asked to compete for, I ran 800 metres, and, you know, he took the kids, and so there's a
brilliant.
There's a lot of support.
But I've also seen on Facebook that you sometimes go out running together.
Yes, we do.
And you just said, you know, I like to win. Do you not sort of go, okay, that's it? He's obviously a bit tired from a long day yesterday. I might just beat him, or you know,
but
or vice versa.
I mean, when we go out for runs, we just go out for enjoyment. So.
No competition.
No, absolutely not. No, really. I mean,
I like this idea of running for fun. We go out for a bit of enjoyment. No competition at all.
It's our little morning date.
Yeah.
Oh my word.
I like to sit and have a glass of wine for enjoyment.
Oh, also.
You talked there about your children. Are they involved in sport at all? I mean, I would imagine with both of you, as in competitive sport, and I imagine it's quite a sporty household. Do you actively encourage them to participate?
Well, we do, because I mean, thankfully, physically, they both have quite good
genes.
Good
I would imagine they would, yeah.
Our eldest daughter, Robin, who turns 11 at the end of April, does gymnastics twice a week, and she also does ballet. But not that. And our youngest, Kira, will be 9 in August, and she does gymnastics and she dances as well. But they're both quite fast if they do run, because they win their races at school, but they're not interested in competing at all. In fact, they get selected to run for the school, and they're like, nope, I'm not you. I'm not doing that.
Do the school have an expectation that, you know, well, these kids must be really sporty, we'll target them?
Well, I think everybody kind of has an expectation that we just want them to do what they want. I can't, just because I was an athlete, I can't expect them to want to be. I mean, Robin is quite good at gymnastics. I mean, she can walk on her hands for 30 metres, you know, and she loves it. So if that's what makes her happy and what she's enjoying doing, then that's what we want for her.
I don't know many 10, 11-year-olds.
She's nearly 11.
Yeah, who can walk 30 metres on
she
their
can walk.
Like, so I'd say she sounds quite sporty.
Wait, if they decided that they weren't going to go into anything sporty, they weren't going to be sporty at all, would that have made any difference? Would you have gone, oh, come on?
Clearly, yeah. I mean, I mean, if they were good at art or whatever, I'd encourage that, obviously. But yeah, of course, you know, I mean, it would be nice for them to excel.
That's a big proud mum there.
You say of course, but you do think of course you would like that.
It would be nice, but then they have to enjoy what they do, really.
Is that because you think that you'd be able to support them? It's something that you know really well, that you could support them and help them grow into that skill?
I just think that
just because you love it?
I just want them to excel at what they enjoy and what they're good at.
Yeah.
I can't expect them to be what I was at all.
No.
So.
And we touched just very briefly on Nathan's crazy sports events, do you, just a question aside, do you, wake up in the morning and Nathan says, I've had a really good idea and I'm going to do this, I'm going to swim from Australia to New Zealand. And you go, oh great, there's another one. How does that work?
Well, when his first major challenge, he decided, he said, this is about 5 years ago, I think, he said, I'm going to run a full marathon and I'm going to raise funds for Inspire. And I was like, a full marathon, you're mad, kind of thing. Anyway, so he did it, and he said that if he ran under 4 hours, people would double their donations, which obviously he did. And then they just got worse and worse.
So I love the way you say worse and worse.
Come on, give me an example. What kinds of things
he's done a big one was the Marathon des Sables, which was 250k. It's an epic race. I mean, 250k in the desert.
For how long?
Well, it's over the course of a week, but it's obviously on sand dunes, and you have to sleep in a tent. You have to carry all your supplies on your back, around 12 kilos for the whole duration of the race.
Oh my word.
He also did, obviously, that he has.
I've got my mouth open.
He has a world first. Nobody's ever done it. He ran 27 marathons in 27 days in 27 countries consecutively. That was never done before.
Do you think? Here's the thing. Do you think that's a man thing? Do you think that men, want to push the boundaries a little bit further and explore?
Well, Nathan's character is that he's always wanted to be. He's always needs to be challenged.
Yeah.
So, I mean, he's doing it in a good way. I mean, challenging his body, and also he passes on in part of his work that if you do set your mind to something, and you should challenge yourself. And it's all relative, obviously. I'm not saying go and run this event he's doing in September is going to be 245 kilometres. It's not go and run 245 kilometres, but if you have a goal of running a half marathon, if you work for it and if you train for it, you can achieve it. Yeah. I mean, if you want to run a full marathon, if you train, you can do it. If you set your mind to something. So he tries to pass on this this knowledge that.
I have a quick question for you before we go to the break. If you had had an injury and you weren't able to do sports, what would you have chosen to do as a career?
I don't think I can answer that. It's funny that you asked this, because it's something that I've been very, very fortunate in my life that I'm healthy. I've never really had any injuries. I just had a couple of pulled hamstrings, which is nothing compared with some injuries. I sometimes ask myself this because I, in a way, take my body so much for granted that I don't know what I'd do if I had to have an accident or have a bad injury. Yeah. So that's a very interesting question. I think I'd be very, very sad.
Oh, bless you. Yeah. Listen, it's so wonderful talking to you, Dee. Don't go anywhere. We're going to be talking a lot more about sports. Ladies and gentlemen, don't go anywhere. We'll be back in just a few minutes.
Welcome back to In Demand, where we are talking to women in sport. We're really lucky today to have had Deirdre Farrugia, and now we're going to speak to triathlete Danica Bonello Spiteri. Danica, welcome.
Thank you for inviting me.
Now, first question is, lots of people get involved in sport for fitness and for pastime and hobby, but you are an athlete and also your job is in sport as well. Yeah. Tell me why you decided to get involved in sport in such an all-consuming and ambitious way.
I don't know, just enjoy it pretty much, and pretty much sport is me. So I started with, I pretty much was in sports always, so even from the age of like 2 years old, my mum had started me off with dancing. I was actually a dancer for 11 years. So ballet, modern dancing, I used to perform on stages. I used to tap dancing, some gymnastics, some sailing. So I was always in sport. And then when I was 12, I started swimming, pretty much in summer, for my mum to get rid of me for 2 mornings a week.
And I think that's why.
Yeah. Thanks, Mum. And then, yeah, same thing as Deirdre said, that in school I was running, winning the races, and they're like, oh, you should take up running. So I was doing swimming and running. And then my swimming coach told me, do you have a bike? I said, yeah, of course, I've got my BMX, I ride around the streets.
Brilliant.
And, yeah, then my mum, she borrowed a mountain bike of her friend. So it was this big, massive mountain bike, this big, massive helmet. And yeah, when I was 14, I did my first triathlon, won it as well. And
I did my first triathlon and I won it. Yeah.
I love that. Yeah. Danica, it was fab.
And then obviously I did take it up You'll start learning. I mean, back then, that was in 1995, triathlon was still very in its infancy in Malta. So things have developed and changed a lot over the last 20 years I've been competing. And then along the line, I've obviously kept up my studies. I did the sciences and then got my A-levels, and I said, yeah, I do like medicine, got into medicine, started working. I was working at the hospital, and pretty much, I mean, I do enjoy being a doctor, but I felt that I wasn't too interested in continuing to specialize in anything particular. And then I discovered sports medicine, started reading for my diploma, got that, and then I said, but I want to do more with sports medicine, you know, it's like it's kind of this medicine and sports put together.
Yeah.
And then I was randomly just looking online, you know, sports medicine, found this job vacancy. So that was in October 2010. And I just put in an application.
You randomly found this job.
Yeah,
I just found a job in the internet.
Yeah,
wow.
and I got shortlisted. And at the time I'd been married for just a year. And I told my husband, I told him, I'm going up for the interview. I said,
and where is this? Where were you going?
And in England.
And the job was for?
The job was to become a specialist in sports medicine. So as a trainee, as a registrar in sports medicine.
Okay.
That's a 4-year contract to become consultant over there. So I did go up for the interview.
Sorry, go back one. How did you break that to your husband?
Yeah.
It's just 4 years, don't worry, love, I'll be back in a few.
I mean, I didn't think about the 4 years then. I just said, look, I'm going for the
give it
interview.
a go. Okay.
I'm not even thinking about it. And that was in October. I did get the job offered in December. I did actually get the job.
Excellent.
And nowadays, I realised that even to get the job, there's a lot of competition.
It's a big deal.
And there's only like 35 registrars in the whole of England for this type of job.
Doing that, wow.
So, and each post that comes out is for 4 years. So
you got that job. There's no way you could have turned it down, really, it sounds
and I
like.
said, listen, this is kind of what I like. And in the matter there, I wasn't really happy with what I was doing. I said, look, that's what I want to do. So, yeah, then I within like about 2 weeks, I just literally packed my bags and I left.
Wow.
4 years have gone by.
My bags and left.
And I've come back.
And
here again.
he's been cool with that, obviously, the whole time. I can't imagine that was easy, though.
No, it wasn't easy at all. Even it's not easy because, I mean, like friends of mine, especially like the male doctors, would go abroad to specialise at the same sort of time frame with their wives, and the wives would kind of take the time off work, start a family, they specialise, come back to Malta. Whilst for me, being female was harder because obviously I had to go to the UK. My husband stayed in Malta, so we've had to commute with the two of us to England, Malta.
Good grief.
But nowadays, I mean, it's easier with low-cost airlines. There's Facebook, internet, Skype. It is much easier.
Still a big commitment, though. That job sounds like a big commitment.
Yes. At the same time, I managed to get onto a very good triathlon team over there, which is I managed to be placed in Leeds, which is kind of pretty much a triathlon hub, if not in the world
Didn't
now.
know that.
So neither did I. Bless those northerners.
I just was lucky. Literally.
That's amazing. I mean, what an amazing story. And also, because I was about to ask you, so you've kept competing at the same time.
Yeah.
So and if I'm right in thinking, you're actually, as part of your role as a doctor, there's been football teams and rugby teams that you've been looking after as well. Quite an enviable job, really.
Very nice.
Very nice looking after them. Listen, I'm dying to know, because you are still competing, and I guess, I mean, it's relevant to both of you, but when you go to athletics meets and you see other competitors and other women on triathlon teams, is it sort of, hello, how are you? Or is it like, gonna beat you?
No, I think I'm more a type of friendly person. I don't believe in that kind of jealousy, although unfortunately do see it in sports. But I think even Deirdre's, I think, of the same opinion as me. It's like your friends and stuff like that. On the start line, I'm going to race you. At the finish line, shake hands, and we're friends again. But I'm going to do my best to beat you in the race.
Yeah.
But is there that? Do you see that in other people, though? There's friction and there's sort of...
Yes, unfortunately, you find that, which I totally disagree with. I do try to kind of change things and show, listen, you know, sports at the end of the day is for fun. There's no need for jealousy. There's no need to be arguing or hate someone for results, whatever. But I think sometimes maybe the female trait comes out. I don't know.
Oh, what does that mean? Tell me what the female trait
Yeah,
is.
sometimes you can find a bit of, let's say, maybe like bitchiness, but I disagree with it. It's not me to be like that, so I don't tend to be. But sometimes you do come across it, and you see it, and I think it happens across a number of sports.
Is that not tactics? Do people not try and put you off your stride a little bit by behaving in a certain way, upsetting you?
Okay, yes, you can sort of give a certain image in the race on the start line. I mean, yeah, that is kind of tactics, yes. But then, like, once the race is over, the race is over.
Right.
But you also said that that was something that was among women. Does that mean that the men are very much, hello, you know, rightfully, what a great race? Or are they doing something as well?
They'll have similar things on their macho side, you know, in a different manner, yes. And yeah, I think that still exists as well. I see that even amongst men. Not only locally, even abroad, it still exists. I think it's just humans.
So
competitiveness.
Going back to your role as a sports doctor then, so what does that actually entail when you're a sport? And who are your clients?
Yeah, now I've pretty much, I've worked with rugby, with Leeds Rhinos in
Leeds Rhinos?
When I was in UK. Yeah. But now I'm pretty much in Malta, so I've got my own private sports clinics where I'm working and building up practice over there. I also still kept up some clinics in Leeds and London where I commute a couple of days a month, do my clinics there, and I work for England football as well. So
that's amazing.
Taking care of some of the women's teams, and they've asked me for some of the men's teams, but I haven't yet started doing that. So I think it's quite an interesting job.
It sounds fascinating, yeah.
It's busy, especially like because I go like on training camps with them, so I have sometimes where I've got say a week's worth of work, then come back home, a bit more recovery time, but it's hard to like fit in the training.
Of course.
Around, if they are in a training camp, which is already full on, they have their tournaments, there's the travel, there's everything. It's not easy, but
so how do you manage to fit your training in to this tough schedule?
Yeah, I do. I think when you have a goal in mind and something you want to achieve, that's kind of what gets you up out of bed in the morning rather than putting on snooze.
That's true, and so that's where I'm guessing the will to participate and win and that drive comes from. Would you say that is that something that you are born with, or is it something that you develop, or? I mean, you've got to, as you said, actually not hitting snooze and getting up at 5 o'clock in the morning when you can hear it rain, like it has been the last couple of months, raining and windy outside. That really takes something.
Yeah, it's hard, and I found it harder with our climate in Malta and me going to live in Leeds, where it sort of wasn't rain, it was just snow and ice. I have friends of mine in UK, they used to laugh at me, you know. I wouldn't know how to dress up for that weather, so they'd be like getting extra jumpers and like, no, you need to put on this now. No, you need to be doing this now. And okay, then you learn. I mean, and you adapt. But I think you develop even this like drive and determination to know where you're going to get to. I think over time you work on it, and it's like you have to help yourself. There's always that little niggling voice at the back of your head. No, today I can't have a lion.
You can't.
Yeah, but you find that, listen, you know that in the end, once you get up and out of bed and you start doing that training, then you say, oh, okay, it's actually not too bad. And actually, after you finish, you actually enjoy it.
Yeah, good for you.
I know from my part, on a teeny weeny scale of that when you do actually get up out of bed when it's raining or whatever, and you've gone and done it, the sense of accomplishment that you didn't stay in bed is so much bigger.
I can only imagine how you feel, the both of you, for the sense of accomplishment of the things you've achieved, because I just feel like that getting out of bed in the morning. Brushing my teeth.
That's winning for you, is it?
Yeah, that's it.
Listen, my teeth. Ladies, we're having great fun, and it's absolutely fabulous talking to you both. We're going to come back and talk about sports to both of you in just a second. Don't go away. Going to be back in just a few minutes.
Welcome back to Indemand, where we are speaking to women in sport. We've got the lovely Deirdre Farrugia and Danica Bonello Spiteri. Now we're going to speak to both of them about some of the issues in sports that they've experienced over the years.
Absolutely, and it's absolutely lovely having both of you on the show. It's been great fun. Listen, we Googled women in sports, and half of the top 5 searches were actually about hottest women in sports.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Yep. So that was the first thing that popped up. We put women in sports. The top 5 were
Did you
about
really
hot
put
babes.
women in sport? Or-
Who did it?
So listen, a question for you both. Do you think that women are taken seriously in sports? Because you've both been actually in sports for a while as well. So not just are they taken seriously now, have they always been taken seriously as well?
I think over time it has improved. When I have experience, even when we're younger, men and women have the equal distances in sport, the same events. I mean, okay, fair enough, that's men, there's always more competitors than women. But essentially, we're still doing the same things. But then if they put up race reports, there's all photos of men and everything, and at the bottom, oh, female section so-and-so came first, so-and-so second, so-and-so third. But there's a whole story about the men. So you never see that the other way around. So
yeah, it's interesting because I was reading a Sunday newspaper last week, and it was a UK Sunday newspaper, a broadsheet, and it was 15 pages.
Yeah.
And I didn't even think about it. I thought about the show, and I was thumbing through the pages, and I thought, okay, man, 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 and I counted up the images, and there was 93 pictures of men.
Oh, interesting.
There was no pictures of any woman at all in the supplement. And I skimmed through to see if there were any stories about it, and there was nothing at all. And that's 15 pages on a broadsheet on a Sunday, 2015.
There's a big thing going on even in the UK and worldwide about cycling. There's also much about the Tour de France. It's only men. Why is there no equivalent of the women? And it's a whole...
Are women allowed to enter? I've never even thought of that.
Yeah, and even why are men paid salaries to be professional cyclists?
Right.
And women cyclists, they're just given peanuts. So...
But Dee, I mean, we're talking about this, but you've represented Malta at the Olympics, which surely has some sort of seriousness about it. I mean, it must be taken seriously.
I actually never thought about this about the Tour de France either, funnily enough. I mean, but in my case, locally, I don't feel that men were given more importance, to be honest. I think we were always on an equal... I mean, maybe it's because it's a different sport.
Sports, yeah.
But I was given the same amount of support as my male counterparts, I must say.
Yes.
But yes, this is thinking about the Tour de France.
Yeah, I think in athletics, because I remember Deirdre when I was 15 years old.
We've known each other quite a while. So.
Yeah, I think in athletics there wasn't that discrepancy between men and women in Malta. In triathlon, it used to be 15 years back. There used to be that discrepancy with the importance given to the men. But nowadays, I think we're pretty much level with the men.
And so it should be.
Yeah,
absolutely.
It was interesting because during the Olympics, I didn't notice that there was any discrepancy, particularly with athletics and swimming. All of the events in the Olympics felt to me as though they were equally covered in the media. So I didn't differentiate between female sports successes and male sports successes. But it seemed like that finished, and then when I picked up the newspaper last week, I thought, oh, that's interesting, just a regular Sunday, that's how things are reported.
Well, probably football would be featured quite a bit, which is more a male-dominated sport.
Of course.
So.
Yeah. And yes, and you've got football and you've got
rugby as well. It was mainly there was a lot of that kind of activity going on.
And Tour de France, and you think of those sports which are male-oriented, but then of course you think also about maybe gymnastics, which I personally, when someone says gymnastics, I always think of the girls doing the ribbony things and and that being a female-oriented sport.
Rhythmic gymnastics.
Yes, thank you very much. So would you say that there are sports that are more maybe that's why that more just led towards men and some to women, or...
But then gymnastics, there's some, the rings, the vault.
Oh yes, of course.
Yeah.
There's
absolutely.
Yes, you're absolutely right.
I love watching gymnastics, and I mean, some of the male athletes are absolutely amazing.
All those gorgeous men.
Not just the girls waving a ribbon.
So, would you say that when you have the young people that are coming up now and being trained for sports and that are being influenced by, let's say, your newspaper, are they being encouraged to take sports seriously? Are young people said, this is actually could be a career for you, it could be to go, and in Malta as well, and for women in Malta, girls in Malta?
Yeah, I do see that difference both with working with sports people in UK and in Malta. That example, as I mentioned, I work with England football, so I was with under 17 girls, and the way they are treated, the way they are talked to, they're still under 17s, but they're talked to in the manner that you are elite athletes, you're representing your country, this will be your career, you have to work hard, that type of thing. Whereas then if I see athletes sometimes in Malta at 17, the parents are like, oh no, because you know next month I've got the A-level, so I'm taking them out of sport.
Yeah, that's true, yeah.
Sure.
There's no way you're going to get anywhere with that type of mentality. I mean, I remember during my exams, even my final medical year exams, those were almost the times that I trained the most, because you study hard for 2-3 hours, go out on the bike for an hour, and that is the best thing, because you're training your mind and then training the body.
Deirdre, you're a mum. I'm a mum here in Malta as well. I feel like that it's very academically driven here. Do you think that could impact your children if they wanted to go into sport?
Well, hopefully not, because we'll be the parents that will encourage our kids that life skill. I mean, yes, that studies are important, but there has to be, you know, a time for everything. So hopefully we'll be able, Nathan and I will be able to instill that in our girls, and we do instill it in our girls. They have to work hard and do their homework and do well at school, but that other things are important as well. We take the children out for walks on the weekends, and we do. They need to be not necessarily excel in sport, but they need to be active and excel in other things as well, not just being completely academic. They have to have life skills, you know, apart from sport. You know?
And I think that also, you know, I look at young people today. I'm not a parent, but I do look at parents and see the challenges that they must face, because now, you know, when I grew up, it was you go out on your bike after school and this sort of thing, and now there's lots of gadgets and games and computers and this sort of stuff. So do you have to really push your kids to go out?
It's not just the fact that there are iPads and all this stuff, but also, I mean, when I grew up as a kid, you could just go out and play in the streets. We used to go out and play from morning till evening in the fields, and the infrastructure is different now as well. My children can't just go outside and play in the streets, so I actually have to take them out or meet friends. The life is different than how it's... God, I sound like an old woman.
Yeah, you are. You're an old woman.
But life is different to how it was, you know,
do you think it's less
20 years ago?
Do you think it's less physically active, isn't it? I think we all know that. I recognise that. I think, you know, like you say, you have to get out and make an effort to do things with your children.
Whereas when I was a kid, we'd literally go out and meet the neighbours in the morning, and like my mum would have to shout for us to come back, kind of thing.
Of course.
But it's just the way I think life develops. So we have to, make an effort to take our children out to be active.
How on earth do you manage to fit? I think for you as well, Danica, what sacrifices have you had to make in your lives for your pursuit of sports? Because you both excel at what you do and have excelled at what you've done. What do you ever look back and you think, well, you know, I sacrificed this, and maybe I could have done that, and you know, maybe I could have dated more boys if I wasn't, you know, running on the track. Or, well, it worked out quite well for you, actually.
It was quite handy.
But is there, and I guess, you know, I'm not wanting to probe too much, but is there, in your relationship as well, is there sacrifices that have had to be made?
Yeah, but Danica's lucky because
is a cyclist as well.
Oh, well, there you go.
So
all right.
We end up going out on the bike together, and as I said, like even like what Deirdre was saying, it's not a competitive thing, it's more like a socializing thing. We actually talk a lot whilst we're on the bike. So
if you've got this becomes your profession, then this sports becomes your profession, both as a job and as a professional athlete. What do you do to relax? What's your switch off? You know, for a lot of people, running and doing sport is their default mechanism.
Pizza, ice cream.
Favourite food?
Yeah, I do like a good pizza.
Like a good pizza. You expect sports?
Yeah.
I know I'm going to ask you. Lettuce. I know the answer to this one. Your favourite food?
In general, I can't. Probably a really nice fillet steak, with some roast potatoes on the side.
And a few crisps.
A few crisps.
Fantastic.
No, I like a good steak, actually.
Because, I mean, this kind of leads on as well to the question I was just probing, you know, do you have to make sacrifices for your lifestyle? Do you have to say, because I like fillet steak too, but do you have to say, oh, okay, not too many fillet steaks or not too many glasses of wine or to be able to...
Well, I think once probably Danica's the same as I am. I mean, because we lead the healthy lifestyles that we do, and I mean, Danica's still an athlete, I'm not, I call myself a recreational athlete now. It's a lifestyle. You don't really have to, like I actually don't usually have potato. Like last night I did salmon with roast veg for dinner. and I didn't have potatoes. It becomes...
Sorry, potatoes bad? Because I'm hearing this like negative potato thing.
No,
I'm
bad.
not
I just
to eat
like
potatoes.
to obviously reduce the carbs.
Yeah.
So,
yeah,
but it becomes a lifestyle, and you don't think twice about
not eating.
You find that like
foods.
actually the healthy food is actually better and more tasty. It doesn't mean that if I want a piece of chocolate, I can't have it. But I'm not eating burgers and pizza every day.
Exactly.
And even if sometimes I go out and eat and have more rubbishy food, actually feel bad the next day.
Yeah.
I feel that,
that's
so
true.
I don't enjoy it. And I say, why did I eat it? Because I'm just feeling
you
bad.
know, and you kind of know.
Yeah.
that it
So
was-
it's not. I'm not making sacrifices by not going out to eat. If I want to go out to eat and have the wrong type of food or like a fast food or something, I might have it once in a while. That's okay. It's everything in moderation. The problem is if I have it every single day.
Yeah.
That's the problem. Everything is in moderation.
Well, you were asking about potatoes. Today is Wednesday. This coming Sunday, I'm running the London Marathon. So I'm actually
I was going to wonder whether we could get away without mentioning that.
I'm carb loading like there's no tomorrow. I'm like, give me
that's what
potatoes.
I thought potatoes were good. I thought you had to load up on carbs so you had the energy to do
Well, you
things
can
then.
this week, Trudy.
Yeah, that's my
Okay.
potato,
You'll buy
my
your
roast
pasta
potato week.
and
We'd like for that.
spuds and
Pasta week.
crisps.
Yay! Are there any goals that you both, and because you say that you're a recreational athlete, but you've just been running competitively, still running competitively. For both of you, is there anything that's a big goal that's still out there that you really want to achieve?
I mean, I think I'm happy as I am, and I mean, I do find goals. I mean, this year I've got like this European Games stuff. I've been selected to compete in. I have some other competitions. There's potential one long-term goal, but I mean, still, we'll see about that.
One thing I've always wanted to know is that you're both kind of doing endurance and you've run marathons as well. I know you.
Because I was a sprinter.
Yeah. So but it's that when you feel, particularly in an endurance thing, when you feel that you've gone as far as you can and you've pushed yourself to the absolute limit. This is where I think sports professionals are incredible. When you've pushed yourself as far as you can, what takes you further to win or to even just finish something? What's that extra thing? Where does that come from?
Obviously not anymore, but when I was a competitive athlete, I think the fact that you've worked, as I said, I'm talking for when I was a competitive athlete, that you've worked so hard and put in all those hours, I mean, in my case, on the track, in the weight room, because I used to do lots and lots of weights, that you've worked so hard that you have to just deliver. And once you're there on the start line and you just have to deliver. Like you've trained so hard, you just lay it there and give your 110%. And you do find that little bit more.
You do.
You just do.
And what's the difference then between all of you who've, everyone with all the competitors on the day, all have worked extremely hard, all natural ability. What's the difference between first and fifth? Particularly, that's
well,
this
if someone,
much in a sprint.
there's nothing you can do about. If someone's better than you, they're better than you. But if you've given your best, your absolute best, then if someone's better than you, then there's nothing you can do about that.
Yeah.
But you have to find satisfaction in the fact that you have given your utmost. In my case, in my opinion.
And for you?
I think you're amazing.
Yeah.
Both
No,
of
I
you,
think
incredible.
it's even it's the mindset and what you believe in and the way you've trained, both physically, mentally. What I like to say is like you've done your homework.
Yep.
The race is just showtime, showing off what you've worked for. Same thing.
And you have to accept and know that someone can be better than you. Accept it gracefully. I mean, if you go to big competitions or. And just, as long as you've given your max and you know that you've worked hard, then you can't do more than that, really. So,
absolutely fantastic.
Yeah, I think you're amazing. Honestly, hats off to both of you. I think you're outstanding. Well done.
It's been absolutely wonderful talking to you. We wish you the very best for whatever you do for your competitions that obviously I couldn't possibly do, but also for your career here as the doctor, and also for your competitions as well. Thank you so much for joining us this evening.
It's been
brilliant.
Thank you. Don't miss Indemand next week, where we will be talking to women in politics.
Absolutely, and if you want to find out more about these wonderful ladies or anything else that we're doing, don't forget to catch us on Facebook, facebook.com/InDemandTV Malta.
This has been In Demand. Thank you for joining us, and we'll see you next week.